to Discover La Jolla, where we showcase the jewel of San Diego, La Jolla, California. And I'm very excited to have Erika Givens with me here in the studio, a local artist that really has something special to share about her artwork and what you do. So let's dig into that a little.
Excellent.
So I was looking on your website and I saw that at an early age you fell in love with buildings and windows and high rises and maybe started making Lego sets. Is that read that correct?
You did. You did. Uh, yeah, from an early age, I just had some sort of fascination with cities and
Uh-huh.
the way that they're put together. And I think in high school, geometry spoke to me, and then I found my way into graphic design,
Hmm.
and I think it all kind of makes sense in hindsight. Just the
Looking back at
puzzle of
how it
it.
worked.
Yeah.
And then out of college began putting pieces together. I mean, what were some of the first things you did, or what was like the first job you got where you earned money?
Yeah.
Tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about that.
Well, in college I wanted to be an urban planner,
Okay.
the city aspect, of
Build
course.
bridges and design
Right, and just yeah,
streets and
figure out the map and
okay.
where things are supposed to be. And I've always been pretty interested in how maps work and cartography and stuff like that. But I wasn't able to find that major at the college I was already at. So I, worked around it and ended up majoring in something else. But out of college, I spent some time just kind of interning and exploring the professional world, and found myself sitting next to the graphic designer at a
Mm-hmm.
marketing firm, and she was messing around in Photoshop and Illustrator, and I immediately knew
Where you
that's
were going?
something, yeah, that makes
Cool.
sense. And so then went to art school
Mm-hmm.
and majored in graphic design and packaging. And at that point, worked at a in the design department at Nokia, the old phone company. And from there, just explored how packages work and how to wrap something and
Hmm.
make it attractive and make it the hierarchy of messaging and how information graphics work. So,
Which all led also
which,
to your
yeah,
art as of today.
exactly, exactly. I
Huh.
think just working in graphic design, then I'd I worked with a lot of photographers over the years and got into photography, and then had the sort of great what's the word? What's the word I'm looking
I don't
for? Where
know.
you're
I don't know. This is a
you have
tough
a
one. I
you
mean,
have
I'm
a
good, but I'm not that good.
you have the great opportunity that comes out of nowhere
Okay.
to design elements of your own home. And
Okay.
I'd always moved into a home that was already done, and
Got
I
it.
didn't have any say over any of that
Huh.
stuff. And so suddenly, getting to choose your backsplash tile,
Right.
or I got to design the hardscape of the backyard. Oop. And my world went from 2D to 3D
2D. Huh.
immediately, and that just felt like outstanding. And
Uh-huh.
I'm like, this is where
Where
I'm
I'm
going.
going.
Yeah.
Okay.
So since then, which I think was about 2017, it's been above the page rather
Mm-hmm.
than on the flat plane.
Right. So
So
you have a
yeah,
what I mean, some would call a very physical art, right?
absolutely, yes,
Right.
yes,
It's not just a flat painting or picture or oil paint. It has 3D and it comes off the wall and there's textures and there's all kind of materials and it's 3D,
exactly,
multidimensional.
exactly. And I guess for me, and I have such respect for people that can paint. That's not something that I do well or know
Hmm.
how to do well. But for me, the flat image, since I've been doing it for so long, it felt limiting
Hmm.
at some point, and elevating that line off the page and
Hmm.
turning it into something that creates a shadow or that light can bounce off of, and
Uh-huh.
that you know just it came alive for me, and that's sort of my sweet spot now.
Yeah, I mean, some of the pieces on your website are just beautiful, and some of the hotels. I mean, I saw the Marriott and saw the St. Regis, and I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of these prestigious hotels have hired you to have your art in their lobby or in their main display areas. And the different materials that you're using is incredible too. I mean, it's so diverse
Yeah.
that as a new piece, the amount of time you must spend researching how's this material going to work? How do I get it? How much of it do I need? I mean,
Right.
all that stuff, right?
Right. It's some days I feel like a chemist,
Uh-huh.
just mixing things and trying to figure out how things work when you put them next to each other, when you mix them together. And I spend a lot of time making a lot of mistakes,
Right,
which is, I think, that's how some of the great inventions.
right.
And I'm so grateful for, social media, being able to see a artist in Norway that inspires
Hmm.
me and message them and say,
Right.
how did you do that?
And
And
collaborate with ideas.
absolutely.
Huh.
And I can't imagine what life was
Was
like
like before
before,
that.
right? It's hugely valuable to me. And I have people reach out to me as well. And a lot of artists, you have this like sort of weird moment when you're like, is that might be my proprietary secret. That's the thing that like sets me aside from
Hmm.
everyone else, and I want to hold on to that. And I find more commonly than not, like most artists are very giving and very open
Open
to
about it.
sharing, and that's how I decided like that's
You're
the
going to
way to
be.
be, because you just never know when someone on the other side of the world will be inspired
Right.
or be motivated to try something new based off without it necessarily being a copying thing. It's more like I want to try that and maybe do it my way and recreate it on my terms,
Hmm.
but using your methods.
Hmm.
What comes of it?
Hmm.
So I just think it's a great, you know, mind frame to have, that everything is worth experimenting and worth exploring. And that's how some of the
That's a great,
best
great
art
attitude.
comes about.
It seems like you draw some inspiration too from nature, from the beach, from the water, from the land, from plants, trees. I mean, that's what I was taking from looking at your site. I
Yeah.
saw the beautiful piece. I'm going to say it wrong, but it was these mushrooms that
Don't make me say it
I'm
either.
not going to make you say it because I read it and I was like, I can't say that. I never learned that language.
Yeah.
But anyhow, so you get a lot of inspiration from nature and the beach and the
Yeah.
sea, and that's great.
I think a long time ago when I was little, we grew up spending our summers in Lake Tahoe.
Huh.
And my mom would sign us up for something called the Ranger Rick hikes. And we'd go and we'd have a tour guide. I guess his name was Rick. But we would just take these long, long hikes, sometimes moonlight hikes, and just stop and analyze every little seedling and every
Hmm.
little thing and have explanations about everything. And it must have been this like little window of my life where I was a sponge. And because I think I've just carried that with me forever. And I just have to stop. Like it's very hard to take a hike with me, I think. And
Yeah.
I'm always just,
Yeah.
collecting things.
Collecting and
Yeah.
staring and
Yeah.
stopping, bending over and
Yeah.
staring from
Yeah. It's
different
really
angles.
annoying.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. No hiking with you.
No, but there's a
Um,
lot out there. And, it's worth it. It's worth stopping. And
So I see all these big companies that have commissioned you as an artist. I've seen like Google and St. Regis and these hotels. And are they finding you mostly from discovering you in another hotel? Is it word of mouth? Are there people that are just seeking that their job is to seek out artists with new, upcoming, different ways of producing this type of art, and you're being discovered that way? I mean, how are you finding most of your big clients like this?
yeah, that's a great question. And it took a little bit of time to try to figure that out as well. It basically started with creating a website and an Instagram page. I
Uh-huh.
think that was, sort of where you start. And I think it slowly builds and one job leads to the next, but less somebody coming into a hotel and saying, oh,
I need to
I
find
need that.
her.
Because a lot of times my name isn't even on the
Oh, I
piece,
see.
it's on the back.
I see.
It's more that there are art consultants
Hmm.
who serve as the middleman between the artist and the client. And
So
so,
Marriott Hotel says, "Hey, we need a new piece for our new thing that's going in Dubai," and that art consultant goes out and networks and find.
yep,
Then they uncover you, and then you start talking and start doing some early discovery. What kind of
Mm-hmm.
piece are you looking for? When?
Yeah.
What's your budget? Da
Yeah.
da 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 da. All those things, which
Precisely. And
well,
sometimes they come in saying, we're throwing this out to all the artists that can work in this aesthetic.
I
Here's
see.
the aesthetic, here are the mood boards. What do you got? What's
Hmm,
your time frame? What's your price? And then you're kind of in a bit of a competition. And other times, luckily, because it's less stressful, they come to you because of this one piece
right.
or your aesthetic, which is really nice.
That's
And
neat.
and that's really the goal.
Complimentary, right?
You want to have that space
Yeah.
where, your specific thing is what's sought after. So that's nice. And a lot of the art consultancies, once you work with them a few times and it goes well and everything's hunky dory,
Then you're on
you're sort of on their
in their
list.
database and
Yeah,
their go-to.
yeah. So you get constant queries, and then you get to kind of figure, how does this fit for me and my timing, and
Hmm.
where do I have holes in my portfolio? And that's kind of nice to be, in control and designing your portfolio rather than reactive
And you
all
must
the
have
time.
a interesting, I would say, sizable room for your studio where you create, or is it not? You
You
just
know,
make it work? But I imagine there's
yeah.
all kinds of different glues and adhesives
Oh
and
my God.
I mean, everything under the sun, right?
Yeah.
Is in your studio?
Yeah. So we lived out in Del Sur
Mm-hmm.
area where I had a much bigger
Space.
space, and I had my own studio. And then because we love La Jolla
Mm-hmm.
so much, we decided to move to La Jolla, and my space shrunk.
That
But
happens.
my joy
Yes. Went
multiplied.
through the roof.
Yes.
Yeah.
But so I've got a small space, but working on eventually getting a space like downtown or in the shores, where I can work and show work.
Oh, good.
So have a showcase in the front, a workspace in the back. But no, my husband would rather our home not be just
Be it full.
walls
And
of stuff,
smell, I
all of
must
it,
have some smells,
all of it.
right? Things are
So
getting
yeah,
sprayed and
yeah,
painted.
lots.
And
They see me wandering around the house in my asphyxiator.
I see you brought in a couple goodies. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what you've brought in here to the
I
studio?
did. This piece is a three-sided jacaranda pod, and you can see jacarandas all over San Diego. They're the purple flowering
Mm-hmm.
tree that lines the
Yeah.
streets.
Right.
And this is very, very uncommon. Usually
Okay.
it's just a double-sided. So, of course, I snagged it. I made a silicone mold of it.
Hmm.
And you pop this out of this once this is cured.
I
You
see.
fill it with plaster. This is a little leftover
Yeah.
remnant of plaster, and this comes out. And so I created a recent piece called Jacaranda O2 based
Oh,
off of
cool.
these guys. So another example of making plaster molds is this is the magnolia bud.
Okay.
And I took samples of it from a couple trees in my neighborhood, from the smallest little bud to when it's about to flower and become that giant magnolia, and made molds of all of them through the process. And this is a piece in the making right now.
Oh,
And then
cool.
this piece, these are two components of 486 pieces that are heading to Saudi Arabia this afternoon,
Really?
right after I leave you.
Come on.
Yeah. So these will be, they have screws on the back, and they go from 1 inch to
Okay.
7 inches. This is
Wow.
7, this is 2. And it's basically, this is foam clay,
Okay.
and I've poured resin inside, and the theme is water,
Yes.
obviously. All the different tones of the ocean and the marine
How many pieces are
world.
you shipping?
486. So
Where is that going in Saudi Arabia?
in someone's pool room, and not shooting
Oh,
pool, their swimming pool room, which I
of
think there
course.
must be a need for a swimming pool room
How
in Saudi Arabia because
fantastic.
it's very hot. So
How
it should be
cool.
fun. Yeah, I head over there in a week and a half to install it. So
And so you're over there for a couple days?
over
Is that a
there,
week? Is
the
that a
installation will be 4 days.
uh-huh?
I've got my partner, my assistant, and I will get that going. Probably, hopefully, 4 days, and then we are going to go sightseeing. So
Awesome.
should be fun.
What a great I should become an artist. Well, thank you, Erica. This has
Oh,
been amazing. Obviously, we'll provide the website so everybody can find you. So, thank you, everybody, for tuning in to this episode of Discover La Jolla. where we feature wonderful residents and business owners in La Jolla. Thanks, Erica, for coming in.
Oh, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, it's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Hey, good luck in Saudi Arabia.
Thank
How
you.
cool. I want to see photos.
I know you will.
Okay.
Thanks so much.